Hello, students. I believe that you all are in good health and mind and studying properly. Last week, we have completed the first chapter, that is matter in our surroundings, and I hope that you have practicing all the questions I have given and also starting that chapters. And if you have any problem regarding the first chapter, you can give me the questions through your class teacher's WhatsApp number, and I will try my best to solve the problems. Now we'll start the second chapter, that is matter around us pure. Now, whenever your parents go to a grocery store, you will observe that your parents always try to find out that purity of the substance. Like we'll find out about the pure ghee, pure honey. So, what is the meaning of pure substance? According to scientists, uh, the substance which is pure is means that all the constituents of the particles of that substance are same in their chemical nature. So that means a sample of matter containing only one kind of matter is known as pure substance. Most of the matter around us exists as mixture. Mixture means a sample of matter containing two or more substance is called mixtures. For example, uh, milk is a mixture of water, fats, proteins, and sugar, etc. The air present around us is also an example of mixture. Next is classification of matter. Now we have already studied about the classification of matter according to the states, that is solid, liquid, gaseous states. Now we have to know about that classification of matter based on purity. Now matter are classified into two different parts, that is pure substance and second is mixture. Now you know that pure substance is made up of only one kind of components, and in case of mixtures it is made up of more than one type of components is called mixture. Now pure substances are the two types, elements and compounds, and mixtures are two types, homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures. The elements can be classified into three parts, that is metals, non-metals and metalloids. Compounds also classified into two parts, organic compounds and inorganic compounds. Homogeneous mixtures can be classified into solutions, and heterogeneous mixtures are classified into colloids and suspensions. Now we'll study about the solutions, colloids and suspensions in the next lesson. Okay, let's see a video to know more about this pure substance and their types.
In this media, you will learn about the types of pure substances. A pure chemical substance is a form of matter that contains only one type of particle. There are two types of pure substances, namely compound and element. The pure substance of compound is made up of two or more elements that are chemically combined. For example, a glass of water is a pure substance. There's only water in the glass, but water is made up of oxygen and hydrogen atoms, so it's a compound. Pure substance of element is made up of one element. For example, a balloon filled with helium. The balloon is filled with a pure substance because it is only helium, and helium is an element, not a compound. Solids, liquids, and gases are physical classifications of pure substances. Elements can be divided into metals and nonmetals depending upon their properties. Metals are good in conducting electricity and heat. Metals have 1 to 2 electrons in their outermost shell. There are 4 to 8 electrons in the outermost shell for nonmetals. Nonmetals are poor in conducting electricity and heat. Examples for physical properties of elements are color, smell, freezing point, boiling point, melting point, etc. Physical properties can be observed without changing the substance. If you freeze liquid water to solid ice, it is still just water. So the freezing point is a physical property. Example for chemical properties of elements are heat of combustion, pH, electromotive force, etc. Chemical properties are observed by changing the substance in a chemical reaction. For example, if you burn a piece of paper, it is no longer paper. You have changed the substance into something new. The chemical property of the paper would be the flammability. Thus, you have learned about types of pure substances.
So what are the characteristics of pure substances? A pure substance is composed of same kind of particles and homogeneous throughout. A pure substance has definite properties and pure substance has same compositions throughout. Now, a pure substance always display sharp or definite melting point, boiling points, etc. In case of elements, we'll observe that the properties of each constituent are similar or same. Because pure substance, in case of elements, it contains the same type of constituent particles in elements. Now, we'll observe the properties of compounds. A compound is formed by chemical combination of two or more elements in fixed ratio by mass. Now, a pure compound is always homogeneous, and the components of the compound cannot be separated by any physical methods. It can only be separated by chemical methods. Now, properties of each components cannot be observed in case of compound. For example, if we take a compound like water, in water you cannot observe the individual properties of hydrogen and oxygen. But the properties of water will be totally different from properties of hydrogen and oxygen. Is it clear? Elements are classified into three parts, that is metals, non-metals, and metalloids. You know about the properties of metals, non-metals, metalloids. Metals are basically lustrous, hard, um, malleable, ductile, and having good conductor of heat and electricity, having high melting point and boiling point. In case of non-metals, these properties are exactly opposite. In case of non-metals, they are soft, non-lustrous, non-malleable, and non-ductile, having low melting point and boiling point, and are poor conductors of heat and electricity. In case of metalloids, it contains some properties of metals as well as some properties of non-metals. Now, compounds are basically two types. One is inorganic compounds, another is organic compounds. Inorganic compound means the source of the materials are from non-living sources. And in case of organic compounds, the source is from living sources. For example, uh, any minerals, rocks, soils are the example of inorganic compounds. In case of organic compounds, oils, fats, proteins, these are the example of organic compounds. Now, what is a mixture? Mixtures are the constituents by more than one kind of pure form of matters which are not chemically combined together. You know, in case of compound, it is basically if more than one constituent particles are present, but in that case chemical bonds are present in between these constituent particles. But in case of mixtures, there is no chemical bond is present in between the constituent particles. So that is the difference between mixture and compound. Now another difference is that in case of mixture, properties of each constituent particles are observed, but in case of compound, properties of each constituent particles is not observed. In case of mixtures, there is a same property similar like each of the components, but in case of compounds, the properties of the compound is totally different from each of the constituents. Another difference we can say that in case of mixtures, we can easily separate components of the mixtures by physical methods. But in case of compounds, we cannot separate each of the components by physical methods. Now, constituent of mixtures may be present in any proportions. So no heat energy, no light energy is evolved or absorbed during the formation of any mixture. Now, these mixtures are two types. One is homogeneous mixtures, another is heterogeneous mixture. Now, homogeneous mixtures are those mixtures in which the substances are completely mixed together and are indistinguishable from one another. For example, salt solutions, copper sulfate solutions. So we can say that any liquid solutions, that is mixture of any two substances which are present in liquid medium, is known as solution, and these solutions are homogeneous mixture. For example, if you add sugar in water and after constantly stirring, if it's completely mixed, you will find out that you can taste sweetness, same type of sweetness in each part of this solution of sugar solution. So sugar solution is a homogeneous mixture. Now, all homogeneous mixtures are called solutions. Examples: alcohol and water, petrol and oil, soda water, soft drinks, etc. Now, what is a heterogeneous mixtures? Mixtures in which the substance remain as physically distinct part and in non-uniform compositions are called heterogeneous mixtures. So basically, in case of homogeneous mixture, they are uniformly mixed together. But in case of heterogeneous mixtures, they are non-uniform composition. For example, sugar and salt. You'll see that both of these components are solid, so they cannot be completely uniformly mixed together. Soap solutions, polluted air, these are the example of heterogeneous mixtures. Now we'll see a video of mixtures to understand better.
Have you ever seen lemonade? Neebu pani? Do you know what items does it contain? It contains lemon juice, sugar, and water. So we can say that lemonade is a mixture of lemon juice, sugar, and water. A mixture refers to the physical combination of two or more substances. Different type of mixtures. There are two types of mixtures. Homogeneous mixture, a mixture whose components are soluble in each other. For example, when sugar is added to water, it dissolves, showing no signs of two different mixtures. Other such examples are mixture of milk, which contains water, and cream, mixture of toothpaste. Heterogeneous mixture, a mixture whose components are not soluble in each other. For example, when oil is mixed in water, it doesn't get dissolved. Other examples of heterogeneous mixture are mixture of sand and pebbles, salad, etc.
Now, what is the difference between the homogeneous and heterogeneous mixtures? In case of homogeneous mixture, constituents have uniform compositions, but in case of heterogeneous mixture, constituents have non-uniform compositions. Now, in case of homogeneous mixtures, particles are not visible by naked eyes, but in case of heterogeneous mixtures, particles may be visible to naked eyes. Now, homogeneous mixtures are quite difficult, little bit difficult to separate the constituent parts. But in case of heterogeneous mixtures, we can easily separate the constituent parts as particles of these matters are quite visible. And lastly, you can write down about the examples of homogeneous mixtures and heterogeneous mixtures in differences. Now, in this class, we have studied about the difference between pure substance and mixtures. We have know about the characteristics of pure substance and mixtures, as well as we have studied about the classification of pure substance and mixtures. Next week we'll study about that types of mixtures, that is true solutions, suspensions, and colloids. So that's for it today. That's all. Thank you.